Hello, I'm Brian Keppinger, and welcome to the Magic Symbol Recognizer Quick Setup project. Alright, so first things first, you need to add the symbol recognizer to your project. Then once you've done that, in your top-down template, which we're using for the quick setup purposes, you're going to go into Blueprints, and we're just going to change the name of the controller by pressing F2, and we're just going to add tut there, and we're going to also change the name of the character. This will just make it easier later on to differentiate. Also, and we're going to go into input and go into actions. We're going to change the actions name into default tut, and that'll help us separate the two from each other. So now that we've done that, let's go into our blueprints, and we're going to open up the controller. We are also going to go into our symbol recognizer folder, and we're going to grab in the blueprints folder the demo. So blueprints, demo, blueprints. Grab this controller, open that up, copy and paste all of this. You can leave that out, but let's just grab it for sake of being easy. Remove that action input, and we're going to replace it with this one. So now that you've copied and pasted that, go into this add mapping context where it says IMC default, and we want it to say IMC default tut because that is our character's action mapping. There are a lot of compiler errors. Don't worry, we can fix that by first adding our symbol recognizer component. Compiling, that'll fix that. For the other errors, you're going to want to look for them, and we're simply going to grab them and create variables. So that will be create a variable for our cursor trail timer. We'll go into glow trail, and we'll create a variable for that. And that'll be it for this setup on the top-down controller. Simple as that. The next step that we're going to want to do is set up the input mapping so we can move our characters. So if you go into input on our top-down section, I'm going to close these real quick, and check our mappings, you will see that we have click and touch. We want to add our draw symbol click, and that will already be included in the demo project. We want to map that to our right mouse button by adding it there. So that'll allow us to draw our symbols. So if we go play, we should be able to draw a symbol. Cool. Next step, let's test that we can actually add and save symbols. So let's go into play. We'll say heart as it's one of the included symbols in the pack. Let's draw our little heart. That was not super good, but that's just how it be sometimes. It says no valid symbols saved to templates. So there's a problem there. What? Oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay, the next step is we go into our top-down blueprints, and we want to go into the controller. No, actually, here we go into the symbol recognizer blueprints component. We will need to swap this out for your specific character blueprint. I'm going to update this so that it has a cast failed here. But anyway, so what we want to do is grab from our controller pawn, and we're going to say cast to BP top down character tut. We're going to grab that. And we want to grab the spring arm component and replace that spring arm component here and get the world rotation. We'll do that. Compile in there. Now when we hit play and we want to create a symbol, say it's a heart. Okay, go to view symbols. Now we can view it. Now we know that it's working. Let's draw that roughly. It says OK score, closest shape heart. You right click again, and boom, our spell works. So let's say that you have a symbol that can be drawn multiple ways. You're going to want to use the same name for each symbol like that. And let's say another heart. And we'll say, what if they draw it from right to left? Okay, we'll view that it's been saved. That one's moving from right to left. Oh, that was the worst drawing ever, but it's still checked out. Boom, still works. Left to right, still works. Very good. Now let's say you want to add a spell. So in order to add spells, we have to use our spells data table, and you want to add an entry and make sure that the name matches. So let's add lightning, and you go to spell. There is no lightning spell yet. We need to make one. So let's add the name here just for consistency. Go into your spell folder. We'll add a new blueprint class. Search for base spell, and that'll be the parent class. You can modify that if you like. And we'll say lighting. Lightning. Open that up. We'll make sure that you're not in play mode. Go into event begin play. We'll just add a print string here for simplicity's sake. And we'll say zap. Make that yellow because lightning for some reason is associated with yellow, even though it's usually white, blue, or purple. Alright, and we'll test that out. So let's create a new symbol, make sure the name matches because that is required. Oh, I just realized we skipped a step. Before we do that, go into blueprints, make sure in our data table we add the lightning spell here. BP lightning. Perfect. Okay, try that again. Let's just test that it showed up. Okay, our lightning spell's there. Cool. Let's draw it just to make sure. Boom, shape recognize lightning. Zap. Cool. It works. One more thing, if you want to test the fireball spell, you want to grab the ground and make sure you add the collision. Make sure it generates overlap events. So set that to generate overlap events. That way, when you go in here and you say you want to create your fireball, you just say fire. Let's draw the symbol. Let's make sure it's saved. And then we'll just trace that up. Not close enough, huh? There we go. And that should cause your fireball. Perfect. You might want to draw multiple symbols for the same spell so that not only do you have different directions, but you also have like slight variations of those spells. Because people tend to draw things a little differently. Also, I want to mention that this is in 5.2. The version of 5.0 to below 5.2, you're going to have slightly different methods of setting up the inputs, and I believe the way to do that is you simply will go into your project settings and, go into the standard old school way of setting up your inputs here and mapping them, and then you'll go into your controller and make sure that you have a custom enhanced input set up or whatever that does the same thing here. So you'll copy and paste that in. If you do get stuck with that, let me know and I can help you out. One more thing, there are two variables you might want to adjust depending upon your project. If you're using the top-down template, these are pretty much adjusted to work well with that. But this first one is the size. Generally between 250 to 1000 is a good size, and that's going to scale your drawings up or down for your symbols. And we'll adjust how well your scores match as they get resampled. Another one is the score threshold. And so we have this default to just below 70%. That's how close the symbol someone draws has to match a template symbol in order for that to actually activate an action or spell. So you can adjust that here if you'd like. So yeah, that concludes the quick setup guide for the Magic Symbol Recognizer component. I hope it helps you make some cool projects and you guys get to play around and have some fun with it. You can find the Magic Symbol Recognizer component on the Unreal Engine Marketplace.